Hi everyone! I know I'm alone on the sofa at the moment, but we just had a bit of a technical difficulty. We recorded the episode of the Top Drive show and then discovered that the video hadn't saved, only the audio. But unfortunately, that's all the time we had to do to record this. We're going to release the episode audio only, and we will put up some title cards and some subtitles to help you along. Enjoy the Top Drive show. First things first, of course, we're going to do the questions that have been submitted last week. You should know the rules by now, but in case you don't, leave a question in the comments section of this video, and we will pick them up next time. If you see a question someone else has asked that you really like the look of, give it a like, because we look at the most liked comments first, and there are some giveaways involved in that. And let's do the questions. The most liked question comes from Blossom. Well done, you get yourself a carbon fibre pack. They are asking, is it possible to create a friend system in-game that allows us to view each other's garages? I understand KT Play has a follower system. I think many of us would enjoy a feature where we can view a friend's garage so we can see what cars they have and how they're upgraded. Examples of what I mean would be like the inventory system in Steam. So yeah, 63 upvotes on that question, wow, which is plenty.
Yep. I think it's fair to say that is definitely high up the mysterious list that we talk about a lot. It goes hand in hand a little bit with a couple of other features that we are keen to get into the game. But absolutely agree. I mean, a big part of any sort of collection game, or I think particularly kind of in the world of cars, I mean, sort of showing off your car collection is a huge thing. As a side note, I think one of the things I'm always keen to, I'm always sort of sitting scribbling things out and kind of looking at ways that we could even kind of make the viewing your car collection a kind of more compelling experience. But that's not going to be coming anytime soon. But yeah, I think just kind of almost just the idea of a sort of player profile. I think there's some interesting things we can do with that in terms of the stats, the kind of the car stats in a way, kind of make for some interesting profile material.
Your usage stats. We talked about that in an early episode, like having just what is your lifetime, number of races, wins, which cars have done over 1,000 races, just various things. And it's sort of that idea goes together with, and you can look at the same thing for somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah. All these social features. One day. Yeah, it'd be nice to have.
It's. I mean, that one particularly is definitely. I know it's high on the list, mm-hmm. So no, impossible to say when it will make it in. But I know it's something that ourselves and the rest of the team are very keen on.
And it's interesting to see it get so many likes.
Yes.
In the spectrum of things that get asked.
Yeah. Speaking of comments with so many likes, our next question, also earning a carbon fibre pack, well done you, is Subaru Lover 04. Their question is, can we have a challenge where if a certain amount of people complete it, Tim shaves his face and gets a haircut?
Interesting question.
We'd raise money for charity at the same time if we were going
to have sort of a bigger incentive that also makes that more worthwhile.
Yeah. Well, the challenge this week's quite interesting. Have a go at that, see how you feel about it.
Are you're not throwing down, are you?
I'm just saying, you could think of that as a dry run, maybe. See how that goes.
Get practicing, so we can figure out the window wherein we're comfortable being this is too many, this isn't enough.
Yeah, you got to work for it.
Yeah, okay, work for it. The next question comes from Nashti Gaming, also getting a carbon fibre pack. They're asking, I play the game along with 2 other people I live with, and being able to play a custom match just for fun would be awesome. Some kind of Wi-Fi play or Bluetooth would be a fun way to bring your friends into the game. So this is sort of going back to the way multiplayer used to be, which it used to be local. You could only play if you were literally plugged into somebody else's device. And yeah, maybe it's a bit something that's kind of missing in a lot of mobile games.
Yeah, but I think for largely the same reason, it's something that is nice, and you do it once, and then you don't really do it again, and it doesn't add as much value as other features we could.
It's difficult because obviously, I mean, in general, the way a lot of those things, I mean, a lot of Top Drives and a lot of kind of similar games as soon as you start to kind of get spread out in terms of kind of where you are in the game and the level of your collection compared to the people around you, actually contests do not become that much. They lose a lot of their fun if they're just kind of unbalanced from a kind of a level point of view. So it's I feel like I always answer questions with like me and my kind of scribbling ideas and kind of just get I still like the idea about exploring what does a genuinely live mode look like,
right,
with your car collection. I think it's incredibly complex. I think we'd have to find kind of interesting ways in terms of I mean, RQ does some of the work, but I think in terms of kind of the cars that you're allowed to take into the match, and how do we create an interesting kind of competition with so much variety in terms of people's car collection. I think this, like with some of the sort of similar collectible card games in kind of real life, there's quite an interesting element when you start sort of second guessing your opponents, or kind of trying to preempt what you think they're going to play, and kind of, you know, hedging your bets and things like that. So there's scope for something, but I think I'd put it in the distant future.
Right. And it might be a more live mode in general, which you could play with your friend next to you, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. So it could be something that you can play with anyone, but actually it's a suitable mode to play with. Right. With people that you're physically standing next to or sitting next to.
Okay, cool. All right, so
good question.
Yep, and thank you for that. You get yourself a carbon fiber pack. We've got 2 more questions. This one, I'm going to butcher this name. I'm sorry. I think it's Giacomo Mongiarano. So thank you for your question. The question is, could you make more visible the stars in fully upgraded F cars? The grey stars sometimes seem to disappear in the asphalt of some of the car pictures. Thanks.
Yeah, those poor common cars, because they're grey is the colour, and asphalt is
grey,
pretty grey.
And
you go through and you're like, which ones of these are upgraded? That one obviously is. That one is a little bit hard to tell. Yeah, I mean, look at that.
Yeah,
that's 1 star upgraded. Oh.
It needs to, if it's not already on it, it needs to go in our quality of life.
I added it.
Okay,
it's in the quality of life list.
Oh, you've already seen this.
Somehow there should be. Well, it has come up before.
Yeah,
and I've had the problem myself going through my commons and going, which ones can I just sell or whatever to make room? And you're like, oh wait, no, that one is upgraded. Could do with more contrast. Okay.
And the last question we're going to do today, sorry, it's quite a short episode this week, is going to be from Grim the Fang King. The question is, will we have the chance to win special club edition versions of cars? Like specialised or modified versions of cars tailored to each club, which I think is a really cool idea.
Each club, right.
That is a really nice idea, because I mean, I think we discussed before how a big part of clubs is actually kind of, you know, chopping up the sort of car culture or kind of car community into these 3 parts, depending on sort of what car you naturally kind of resonate towards. And so actually expanding that out and kind of looking at the cars that would naturally fall under kind of each club theme is a really nice idea, and then obviously, you know, making those available as prizes. So that hasn't been discussed, but I think it should be discussed.
Interesting.
Pretty cool. Okay, well, that's excellent. So thanks very much for your questions, everybody, and we look forward to the ones for the next episode. Now let's talk about something else. We are finally able to tell you the release date of PL8. When is it?
It's just happened now.
Oh, it's now. Yay!
I got it.
All right, so PL8 is finally out. Thank you so much, everybody, for being really patient with us. We understand that it's been a long wait. There's been a lot of hype around this. I mean, the videos that we've done on PL8 stuff here at the Top Drive Show, they've gotten a lot more views. The one from 2 weeks ago, we got 5,000 views and over 200 likes. So, you know, thanks so much for your support. You rock. This is great. And we're going to keep on going. We've got content to talk about. We can finally say which manufacturers are going in. So, who have we got entering PL8?
Well, so there's 174 new cars.
174.
Which is more than we've added at once before. That makes it quite exciting. Just turning over cars on prize boards and just random ceramics, you're going to see quite a lot of new cars just generally all around the place. And foremost, leading the charge is Peugeot.
Yep.
We're tagging this up as French Renaissance, and this is Peugeot's time to finally get in there.
Yep.
It's great. Just I mean, I think as people will see, just a great spread of cars. I mean, I think you'll probably see some a series of kind of hot hatch style events coming up, because they're obviously they've got an incredible history in that space.
Yep.
But actually also quite kind of motorsport focused as well. So there's some pretty cool motorsport based stuff that is making an appearance. There is our second Pikes Peak car, which is obviously a fairly big moment for the game. We should there'll be some epic battles between that and the Suzuki, I think. And then also the DKR model from the kind of sort of Paris-Dakar style events, kind of rally raid events. I mean, that's one of my new favourite photos.
Looks
I know
great.
I always like my photo, but that's a great shot.
Can I take a look? Show.
Oh
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not the best handling. I think you can see the kind of what the suspension's capable of that. So it's never going to give you the absolute best handling. But it's a pretty epic kind of all round off road car. That.
Yeah.
So it's there's some great additions, and then actually just below that the 205 T16. Is going back. It's not the Group B. That's the road going version of it. So it's not meant to be the Group B one, but homologated from the Group B series, and just I mean, hot hatches don't get much more aggressive than that. So just quite a cool car to add to your collection.
Brilliant. And we've got another new manufacturer, don't we?
Surprise, Pontiac.
Yay.
It's appearing. A few people were saying, where is Pontiac? Hang on, what are you doing? Yeah.
Well, we found it.
That's right, got those in as well.
Yep.
And then we're just bolstering more of our existing French manufacturers.
Yep.
And there were a whole bunch of player requests, especially after American Dream. They're like, but what about this one and what about this one? So we're bolstering.
Yeah, and actually some of the player requests, I think, for the French manufacturers have just been great. Some really, really cool additions in there. And sort of it really kind of fills out from kind of Citroens and Renaults. It gives a more complete picture about the sorts of some of the best cars that they've made over the years.
Yep. So there's a long list of manufacturers that we're adding to, which is great. And we should now know the total of cars that are in the game. What's our number now?
1,244.
That's pretty good.
Yes,
it is. There is a world record for this, and we may be over it, but we can't sort of officially claim anything because there's processes that need to be gone through.
Yep.
But no, I'd say that's a healthy amount of cars for a game to have.
It's a strong compliment for sure.
Yeah.
So that when we add cars, there are often some changes that need to be made to the entire ecosystem of our cars.
That's right.
So I believe that we've got some rarity changes to mention.
Yeah. So I mean, players who've been around for a long time will be quite familiar with this by now. But the way the RQ system works for cars is we basically rank all the cars from best to worst, and then just divvy out the RQ numbers from 30 down to 3. But things change. We add new cars, or cars get corrected. And so we have to sometimes adjust that. Otherwise you might end up with like twice as many cars that are RQ 18 as 17, and that does weird things to the strategy part of the game. So we try and keep things balanced. And things were a little bit volatile in the early game, but now what we're doing is when we rerun this algorithm for determining the rank of all the cars, we also include in it all the future cars that we've confirmed are going to go in already. So they're already accounted for, and that means less changes from update to update. And I thought I'd just point out as well, when people are like, but surely this one's better than that one, and how does that work? Like, it's objective in a way. There's one part of it that's got a little bit of nuance, and that is that you've got to consider an off-road car versus an on-road car. How do you compare them? Because one will win all the on-road challenges and one will win all the off-road challenges. So how can you rank them against each other? What we do is we figure out, actually across 3 areas, dry asphalt, wet asphalt and off-road, and for each car we go, right, which one of those does it rank the highest in, and then we consider that one to be its like dominant stat, and then which one does it come second in? That's secondary, and then the third one, which it's terrible at, okay, it was less important, and then we actually weight the ranking based on those. So that's why you might be a bit confused about how it's working, but that is what's going on.
Yeah, like you say, try to give that. It needs to be a complete. The ranking needs to be a complete picture across all different challenges. Even though people will generally pick, the car for what it's best at.
Yeah.
It does need to take the whole game into account. So
yeah.
It was,
exactly. And things going in this time. So a lot of people notice the Dodge Stealth has gone up enormously from an uncommon RQ9 up to a rare RQ14. That's partly because we did a correction to the stats on that car, and something went wrong in the process, and we should have at that point actually changed its rarity, but we didn't. And that's why that's been this crazy outlier as an amazing performing RQ9 car for a while. Now we're doing this rebalance. It's like taking its proper place in the rankings. Other things going in. So there's the other corrections for cars going in with this update.
I mean, quite a few. We definitely sort of prioritised the sort of higher end cars and kind of work our way down from there. But I think we've got a good number of corrections in. Yeah,
so that takes effect in the ranking a little bit. There was that change we made to four-wheel drive cars, where four-wheel drive performance tyre cars were getting like a weird amount of traction, which was not realistic. Four-wheel drive can only do so much if your tyres are not designed for the surface, so they became a little bit less good in off-road conditions. That gets factored into the RQ system. But remember that thing I said about weighting. So a high performance, in particular car, which is performance tyres and four-wheel drive, how well it performs off-road is its like tertiary stat, it's least important. So even though they've gone down a lot in performance there, that doesn't actually change their RQ that much, because their RQ is primarily being driven by their weighting on-road and wet, whichever one they're best at. So those will not change as drastically as you might have thought there, just because the off-road component changed. Also, what else did we do? We fixed the hill climb thing. This is going a while back, and this is the first rebalance since then, where lighter cars are better at going up hills. That is how it should work. So a few of the off-road experts might move a little bit in RQ because of that. And then what else? Yeah, all of the new cars that are coming in here and ones we've anticipated in the future, just adjusting how everything is distributed. So that's why you'll see moves in RQ and Rarity in some cases, which we called out a week ago. So you could prepare. There you go.
Yeah. Probably worth mentioning as well the new King car in a way, in the form of the Bugatti Chiron Sport. Just feels like it's worth a special mention, and it's arrived in the game. I mean, as anyone who sort of knows the car knows that it's not sort of massively different from the standard Chiron. A little bit more focused on they've taken a bit of weight out, slightly more kind of focus on handling over although it's still got all the performance that you could ever want. But prize car, and it's going to be I'm sure there'll be some events in the future that unleash that.
Wow.
Into the wild.
That's going to be fun. There you go.
Good. So that's the update, I guess. Which, I mean, that's pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff to go in, and we're still waiting, of course, on clubs, but that again is going to be its whole new thing. It's going to be out there, pushed out by itself. It's going to be pretty exciting.
The team is furiously working away on clubs, so it's don't foresee it being a sort of a PL8 style weight.
Absolutely. All right, well, good. So I guess that's what we've got to talk about for this time round, but of course it doesn't end here. Go ahead and leave your questions in the comments, and we will be back to answer them next time on the Top Drive Show.